Hi, this is Carlos Cousins, and this is a reading question that, when put in context, can be isolated to form a writing question, just like any of the others that we've been looking at so far. So, the context of this passage is the narrator going back in time through these movies that he finds in his grandfather's trunk. It's followed by what life used to be at the time, but the topic that the article is covering is a sentence here. And when you find a sentence that can stand alone um, like this, you can go ahead and assume that information in the rest of the passage is not going to be extremely important. However, reading the passage and figuring that out on your own is a complete requirement before you reach this sort of conclusion. But for this problem, we're going to go ahead and look at it as is. So let's go ahead and do that together. A trunk I uncovered revealed 10 reels of film comprising over a decade of movies, my grandfather's childhood, which spanned from 1928 until 1942. The problem with this sentence here is this last sentence is not a full sentence. My grandfather's childhood, which spanned from 1928 until 1942. And that is because we're given here a subject, my grandfather's childhood, but no verb. We're simply told that it spanned from 1928 until 1942. So this isn't a complete sentence, and that can't be the right answer. The second option given here, a trunk I uncovered revealed 10 reels of film comprising over a decade of movies, my grandfather's childhood, spanning from 1928 until 1942. The problem here would be that spanning from doesn't make sense, first of all. And again, my grandfather's childhood spanning from 1928 until 1942 is not a full sentence, just as the first one wasn't, so this doesn't make sense. The third option we're given, a trunk I uncovered revealed 10 reels of film comprising over a decade of my grandfather's childhood and spanning from 1928 until 1942. This is a sentence that's grammatically correct. However, it does sound a little strange, so we're going to go ahead and see if we can find something better. A trunk I uncovered revealed 10 reels of film comprising over a decade of movies. It was my grandfather's childhood and was spanning from 1928 until 1942. The problem with this sentence here is that it seems to refer to the decade of movies, the subject immediately preceding it. And it's unclear that that is exactly what the author intended. In fact, if you took that idea as fact, that a decade of movies then would have to be his grandfather's childhood. And it's doubtful that the author was claiming that his grandfather's childhood was a decade of movies, so that can't be the right answer. This last option here, a trunk I uncovered revealed 10 reels of film comprising over a decade of my grandfather's childhood and which had been spanning from 1928 until 1942. The problem with this is had been spanning implies that it is no longer spanning between 1928 and 1942. And the other option that we're considering, spanning, is simply telling us that his childhood lasted from 1928 and 1942. It's not saying that it had lasted and then stopped lasting between 1928 and 1942, which doesn't make much sense when you're speaking about time. So this last option doesn't make sense either. And choice C here has to be the right answer. I hope that helped with this problem. Happy prepping.